Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Landedkiller show. It's been quite a bit, hasn't it? Well, let's get into it, shall we? We got a couple devlogs to cover here, so see that we're going all the way from the 14th of October to the 21st of October. We got a couple of them, so this is kind of just a devlog talking about how they designed the ships a little bit. They talk about how Satsuma's a Yamato 510 millimeter guns and four twin turrets. It's like an enhanced A150 design. And they talk about Hanover's 483 millimeter guns, four twins with the enhanced artillery. You have to fire your guns in order to in order to build up the charge for the bonus. Then you hit the F key to get the bonus. Satsuma gets increased main battery accuracy. Hanover gets a boost to secondary range and decreased main battery load time. And we have Conde here, which is a large heavy cruiser armed with 12 240 millimeter guns housed in quad turrets. Has good AA. Annapolis. Des Moines with an extra turret. With the burst fire mechanic, of course, Zorkia is a flotilla leader. So think Khabarovsk, but enhanced with burst fire. Each one has different penalties. For Zorky and for Conde, the penalty is 25% more dispersion. Annapolis, they don't. Zorky and Conde both get 3 bursts. Annapolis gets 2 bursts but increased accuracy. Personally, Annapolis, I didn't find the burst fire to be worth it. And then you got Yamagira here. It's able to switch to 2 torpedo types, a long range 20 kilometers and a short range 12 kilometers. 20-second reload on that. 18 torpedoes total. And 3 6-tube launchers. And this is where we get our little thumbnail image from, is this new map, Faroe Islands. So they're going to be holding a close test new map in the near future, which will help them identify unbalanced things in the map. And they got a domination, an epicenter, and I assume this is Clan Wars domination. Interesting layout there. All right, let's go into the next one. Random mechanics. They're talking about their age verification system here, how they're adding in a box to prove that a person's 18 years or older. Special checkbox, so I'll ask buyer to confirm their age before proceeding. Will complete drop rates be disclosed for sending containers? Yes. Results from daily containers are only result of opening one. Opening super containers and opening them are independent mechanics. While claiming you have a chance to get a super container, your chance is higher if you two try your luck. However, there is a dedicated counter mechanic that will eventually bring a guaranteed drop. Will eventually get a super container guaranteed. In my experience, this usually happens about every 2 to 3 months, or you'll just get a super container out of nowhere. That's how often I get it anyway. Try your luck reduces value of that counter. Okay. Item probabilities and counter. Plan on discussing how super containers work along with other containers already present in the game before the end of spring 2022, so maybe around March, April-ish. Reason for later implementation of these drop rates because we need to prepare and localize relevant new text and allow for technical QA process. How can we be sure that the data you share is true? Probability that we disclose our opening large. Okay, so you're telling them they are testing it in-house. Probably does not guarantee anything. They made mistakes. Distant voyages containers. Corrected accuracy. Is there a counter for guaranteed drop already in game? Yes, it's available in almost all containers. We still use test adjustments. We plan to finalize all container adjustments and grad reveal all values before end of spring 2022. And we got some balance changes going on. So Exile's getting a hit point buff. These small changes, filler changes may occur in future updates should they be required. Soon we'll share more information about the reasons to particular ships in a separate publication. In the first half of November, they're going to release a video describing how they balance ships. Zhao, 4,800 to 4,208, 42,800. Franklin Roosevelt, it's like its number of hit points on attack aircraft reduced from 3,200 to 3,040. Number of hit points on dive bombers from 3,710 to 3,525. Torpedoes 3,690 to 3,505. Main battery reload time. Stalingrad. Oh, Stalingrad's getting nerfed. I'm surprised. I thought they would never touch it. Main battery reload time increased from 20 to 21 seconds. Petropavlovsk. Main battery reload time increased from 13.5 to 14. Main battery reload time decreased for Kotsky from 10 to 9.5. Buffalo. Main battery reload reduced from 12 to 11.5. So some ships are having a little longer reload, some ships a little less. Stalingrad's getting its armor piercing shell reduced by 450. Detectability on Z44 decreased from 7.8 to 7.5. Other detectability range changed accordingly. Yu Yang. Oh, Yu Yang. Such a troubled ship. First they buff it, then they nerf it, and then they buff it, and then they've been nerfing it. It gets back and forth with Yu Yang like all the time. Torpedoes reload time decreased from 139 to 129. Marco Polo Sigma parameter increased from 1.8 to 1.9. Okay, that's good. Monarch main battery fire range 17 kilometers to 17.5. Maximum range of main battery. Control system increased from 18.7 to 19.2. That's cool. I don't know. Fix an issue that secondary range didn't match system values. Details will be available with patch notes of update 10.10. I'm assuming sometime next week we'll get those patch notes. Or not. Yeah, probably next week or the week after we get this patch notes. We'll get into more specifics. Probably just the end game client wasn't showing the right secondary firing range is my guess. And then we got onto the submarine stuff. It's been 2 weeks since subs entered random battles. The changes below are scheduled to be released in the next big update, 10.10. The only proper armaments submarines has is a few torpedo launchers due to this natural limitation to use. The ability to use pings was implemented to help build around this, however. Your feedback clearly indicates right now that sub torpedoes feel too powerful, efficient, and easy to use. Yeah, pretty much. Many of you said feedback about sonar pings. And this interaction on the receiving end makes it quite painful. Okay, let's see what they're talking about here. This is important. Listen up. To address this issue, we are also preserving the unique gameplay we built for submarines. We reworked the torpedoes, splitting them into two types that will receive different bonuses for their use in conjunction with sonar pings. What? Guys, you didn't have to sit there and make this complicated. All you had to do was make submarines have a consequence for using pings. That's all you had to do. But instead, you're making this harder than it has to be. Wargaming always takes the complex situation instead of only doing something simple like having some kind of consequence for using pings. So let's read this. First type are homing. Maneuverability will be reduced. The distance at which they stop homing on destroyers and cruisers will be increased twofold. The rest of the parameters mechanics of these torpedoes remain similar to the current ones on the live server. The first ping activates homing, the second ping improves it, but doesn't make it better than how it is now on the main server. However, the successfully sonar ping torpedoes no longer receive any bonus to their damage. Interesting. Second type, torpedoes are with magnetic detonator. Their base damage is somewhat higher than that of homing torpedoes. The first ping reduces the torpedo's detectability by 25%. The second ping doubles their damage if they hit torpedo protection. Does anybody else see a problem here? These torpedoes can deal a lot of damage, but do not have any horizontal homing at all. When the ping factor is active, they can only ascend or descend to match the level of the target. Okay, Wargaming. Do we really want double damage? If they hit torpedo damage. Okay. Instead of just solving this with one simple change to pings, you're making this more complex than it ought to be. Oh boy. So the second type, they're going to rise the same level, but they're not going to, I guess, angle in like how the current torpedoes do is what I'm understanding from reading this. All submarines will have access to homing torpedoes, while tiers 8 and 10 will have the option of loading proximity fused torpedoes or torpedoes with magnetic detonator. It's important to remember that the anti-torpedo coefficient reduces the damage of these torpedoes as well as the one we currently have in the live server. Still, you're giving them double damage. What is that? What is that? Switching between the two types of torpedoes will be handled similar to Super Destroyer Yamagiri. It will take some time to switch, and the current torpedo reload will be suspended in the process. For example, if you have 6 out of 8 torpedoes loaded, you have 20 seconds left for a full reload. After switching from homing to proximity, you will have 6 proximity fused torpedoes ready, and still 20 seconds remaining between the remaining 2 are loaded. So roughly speaking, this change will introduce a choice for submarine captain between homing and high damage and should make interactions on the receiving end less punishing. By the way, further on in update 10.11, we plan to introduce torpedo aim for underwater states, which will make aiming torpedoes underwater more convenient. Okay, well, the way I am reading this, I think we probably got another month or 2 testing left. That's what I'm understanding from this. We'll have to see what they do. Okay, submarine spotting underwater. On top of dealing precise damage, submarines can also spot surface ships relatively well from underwater. We decided in the current implementation it is too much and that spotting from underwater should be nerfed. Therefore, the base detectability of all surface ships from underwater will be 2 kilometers. It will be substituted with proximity detection mechanic in one of the future updates. Thus, submarines will no longer be able to spot efficiently, remaining relatively invulnerable. So this is going to be nerfing the submarines so they can't really see the surface ships. My question is, if you have hydrophone on, will those ships show up? Depth charge switching abuse. Not a very frequent but rather frustrating trick we've noticed is the ability for submarines to switch depths quickly between surface and periscope depth. It allowed some players to reduce their consumption while not spending their battery charge because the submarine's detectability started to change immediately when a depth change is ordered. We don't believe such tactics are healthy for gameplay, so this trick will be patched out. Detectability changes will occur when a sub reaches periscope and maximum depth. So they got tired of people doing the dolphin diving, going up and down and up and down. So that's why they're changing that. That's a pretty big nerf. One of the main gameplay aspects of submarines is the ability to hide at maximum depth. While being there, submarines can't see much and can't do much, which balances the advantages of hiding. For this reason, we want to keep this mechanic as is, so we don't plan on changing Hydrocoos so it can detect submarines at maximum depth. Please note that it still affects them at all the depths. Submarines' popularity. Even though subs' efficiency didn't change much since the previous test, right now their popularity in random battles is a bit higher than we anticipated. Up to 10% of games on Tier X are played on subs. As shown above, following your feedback and results of the test, we're already changing the mechanics of the new ship type, and we intend to continue working on it. As a consequence, these changes might also affect subs' presence in battles and their popularity over time. Moving forward, even though these changes quite noticeably affect their gameplay, there are still many sub-related mechanics which have not been touched. In order to test this new ship type as well as possible and decide what further changes may be needed, we need to carry out more testing. So even with the changes planned for 10.10, we will continue testing the current iteration of subs. The battles played before the release of 10.10 and all feedback on them are still important. We're pretty sure these changes are not the last you will see, but right now these changes we are implementing, and soon you'll be able to try them out. We'll keep you updated and share more news soon. Thank you. So let's see if they did any other new devblogs. Nope. All right, we are all caught up on Devblog roundup. So in essence, they told us where they got their inspirations from for their super ships, their closed testing Faroe Islands map. They talked about more explanations on random mechanics. There are some balance changes being planned with some buffs and some nerfs for update 10.10, and there may be further changes to that. And submarines are really getting changed massively come update 10.10. With homing torpedoes having their homing distance increased, so that destroyers and cruisers won't be hit as easily by homing torpedoes. We have a new type of torpedoes with magnetic detonator. We're going to have an underwater aiming reticle, and submarines are no longer going to be able to spot ships underwater unless it's 2 kilometers. I assume that hydrophone will still work though. So if they're using hydrophone, they're still going to be able to detect you. Depth charges, switching abuse. Not going to let you dolphin dive. They're not going to change maximum depth mechanics. They're watching the popularity, and they still plan on more tests. So, with all of that out of the way, we are now all caught up on Devblog news. So, thank you for watching. Please remember to like, watch, and subscribe for future World of Warships and Temple Run 2 gameplays. And be sure to check out the other channels too. We got a Minecraft channel now, and we got Random Gameplays channel. So check them out. Links are in the description.